Hey, class. It is Monday, October 11th, 2021. Big football weekend last weekend. UTSA is 6-0, which is amazing. If you're an Aggie fan, I don't know if there's any Aggie fans out there. You must be in ecstasy because A&M beat Alabama. If you're a Longhorn fan, you must be in despair. Oklahoma came back and beat Texas. So just a crazy football weekend, but very proud of how the Roadrunners are doing, really representing UTSA beautifully. I want to talk in this podcast about the midterm grades, which I've posted. I posted them yesterday. You should be able to see them, I guess, tonight or something. Everyone's supposed to, all faculty are supposed to post them by 2 o'clock today. So the midterm grades, midterm one last week were very, very low. It was probably the lowest set of midterm grades that I've had. I'm talking about midterm one. And of course, the midterm one grades will affect your midterm grades for this semester. So I'm not quite sure what happened with midterm one last week. I don't know if it's me or if it's you or if it's COVID or if, I don't know, maybe it's just the perfect storm of horribleness. But it was a very low set of midterm one grades. And consequently, the midterm grades are pretty low as well. So I was surprised at the grades, and I always tend to think that there's something that I'm doing wrong. It's just not clear to me. I think partially it's just been such a crazy time over the last couple of years. I don't know. Midterm one, I thought it was pretty straightforward. I don't think there were many curves on it, in the sense of asking you questions about material that I hadn't talked about or that I hadn't put on my review. But I don't know. So I thought about what I'm going to do for it. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to curve midterm one. I'm going to add 6 points to everyone's grade. It's going to take me a while to do that on Blackboard. So don't get upset if you don't see your grade going up 6 points. I will do it. You can trust me. You've got this recording. In case somehow at the end of the semester you don't think that I followed through on my promise, you can complain to me or complain to my department chair. And anyway, so there's evidence that I'm going to do it. I'm not going to make you a promise and then not keep it. That's not my style at all. So I'm going to add 6 points to your midterm one grade, which should also increase your midterm grade, maybe by half a letter or so, or maybe even more in some cases. Now, the other thing I think I'm going to do is for those students who score higher on midterm two, I am going to weigh that more heavily than midterm one. How much more heavily? I really can't say. But let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say that you're a good student, that you've been keeping up with the quizzes, and that you've made, say, an 80. What have we had? We've had 4 or 5 quizzes. Your average on the quizzes is somewhere between 80 and 100, okay, even 70. But you're doing the work, you're showing up, you're taking the quizzes on a timely basis, your head's in the game. Okay, so let's just say for sake of argument, your quiz grade is in the 80 range, and that you've taken most of the quizzes. And then let's say you scored maybe a 60 on midterm one, but you score an 80 on midterm two. Well, I'll take midterm two into account. I look at all the grades before I put in your final grade. I look at how you do on each quiz. I look at how you do at midterm one. I look at how you do on midterm two. And if I see that you've been very steady throughout the semester in the sense of taking your quizzes, showing up for the quizzes, doing well on the quizzes, generally well, that you had trouble with midterm one, but that you've kind of figured out things for midterm two, I will take that into account. Now, I know that sounds really vague. When I say I will take that into account, I mean, I've already added 6 points to your midterm one grade. So that's very concrete. But again, you just have to trust me. I'm not out to get any of you. I think I have a well-earned reputation for being student friendly. And sometimes maybe just given the crazy nature of the world that we live in, it just might take a while for some of you to for things to kind of come into place or click into place as far as what I'm asking for in this class. And I have to be honest with you, I'm sympathetic. I failed chemistry when I was a freshman. I don't know, can we say freshman anymore? My first year in college, it was at 8 o'clock in the morning. I just couldn't get up. It was very embarrassing. By the time I was a senior, I was taking German 5 days a week at 8 o'clock, and I made an A because I knew how to study, and I just, time management, and I had just learned how to go to college. So I'm very sympathetic to folks that struggle in their first semester in college. For folks that have been in college for a while and that still aren't doing poorly, I honestly don't really know what to say, but I'm not here to judge. This may be my fault. I don't know. So you just have to, again, take my word for it that I'll take in, if you do better on midterm two, I will take that into account, and I will weigh midterm two more than midterm one. Also, I'm going to post extra credit opportunities for you all. COVID, I think, has plateaued, and we've seemed to have turned a corner on the Delta variant. So one of the things I normally do is I allow students to go to the missions, go to the Alamo, since you've read a book on the Alamo, send me a picture and some kind of description of the Alamo based on the reading. And that will add 2 points on your final average. And that can make a big difference. And to be honest with you, it's really more than 2 points. And I'll give you an example. Let's say after everything, your quiz grades, your midterm one, plus the 6 points that I'm giving everybody, you do pretty well on midterm two. And let's say your final average, even with the extra credit, okay, is something like an 88 or 89. I would tend to go ahead and give you the A minus or the A if you've done the extra credit. Even if you're just a little bit short of the 90, or let's say it's 78, I would give you a B. So if you're flirting with the higher grade and you've done the extra credit, you basically have gained my favor. You've gone the extra yard, and I tend to give you the benefit of the doubt. So on paper, what you're getting is 2 points on your overall final average, which is pretty generous. But if you're flirting with a higher grade and you've done the extra credit, even if you haven't quite made it to, say, a 90 or an 80 or whatever, basically I usually look with favor on students that do the extra credit. So what I'm trying to do here is to make sure that your morale doesn't collapse, that you don't fall into despair, that you don't think everything is over, the semester's over, you're not going to be able to make it. I will do everything in my power to help you make it through the semester. Now, the last thing I'll say is that we're reaching the point in the semester, which is on October 25th, where you can drop the course with a W. You can drop it via ASAP. You can actually drop the course until the first week in December, but you have to you have to do more paperwork to drop it. If you think that you just can't pass this course, that it just doesn't work for you, life doesn't work for you, it just, my teaching style doesn't work for you, that it's just impossible for you to pass the course, drop the course. Just take the W. I know that you've spent money taking the course and it's going to cost you a little bit of money. I tell you, the F is going to cost you a lot more in life than the W. No one cares about a W. Your employer's not going to look at a W and say, why did you drop Texas history? That's just not the way life works. But the F, and this is kind of a joke, your permanent record. The F actually is on your permanent record and it hurts your GPA. So if you're really struggling in this course and you don't think you can dig yourself out of the hole, or any other course, I would go ahead and just drop the course. Think about it. If you want to talk to me about it, I'm very happy to talk to you about it. And that's the last thing I wanted to say. If anybody wants to chat by Zoom, email me. I'm very happy to talk to you and to help you get through the course, to talk to you individually. And really, I want you to do well in this course. I want you to learn. This is not a weed out course. I'm on your side. I've been in your position. I know what it's like, and I ended up doing okay, and you're going to end up doing okay. So I'll do my part, but frankly, you have to do your part as well. And if that means talking to me, scheduling a half an hour session with me, go ahead and do that. There's issues in your life. Let me know. I don't need to know the details. It's none of my business. But just stay in touch with me if you're struggling. And if you just didn't study enough or didn't do the work, well, start studying harder and do more work. So again, the last point I want to leave here is don't despair. If you did poorly on midterm 1, if your midterm grade is low, I'm going to adjust the course to help students that are struggling in the course. And you can end up in the course with a decent grade or the grade that you want. But I'll do my part, but you have to do your part as well.